Now, what are kanji? Kanji are logographic Chinese characters. They function like words and depict something. Kind of like the plus minus symbols that we have, except they have stroke orders we need to follow. So for example, the kanji for tree. As you can see, it depicts a tree. Now, why do we have kanji? That's because way back in history, around the year 500, the Japanese had a language, but they didn't have a writing system. Therefore, they got the writing system from China to represent things as kanji. For example, the word for fish, they use this kanji. Or for book, they use this kanji. And also, while they did that, they also took the Chinese reading with the kanji. But why is there more than one onyomi reading, you may ask? The reason why is that the readings came in waves. The first wave was from the Wu region, which is where they got it in the first place. The second from the Tang, and lastly from the Song or Ming period. And why is this important? Well, I'll get to that later. It will help us, I promise you. Now, about onyomi and kunyomi. Do we have something like this in English? Actually, yes. For example, this symbol, ampersand. Well, while we could say ampersand, we can also say et, meaning and in Latin. So the kun reading, therefore, is ampersand, and the on is et. You see what I'm getting at? Another thing, kanji can have multiple readings such as kun, on, nanori, and the irregular readings. But we don't need to know all of these readings, because doing it for each kanji, that is gonna be hell, let me tell you. There are over 1,000 kanji, and if you learn those readings for each kanji, no, you're better off reading words. No, you're better off remembering words instead of kanji. So doing it for each kanji is a waste of time, and learning all kanji is a waste of time too. Like Kaname Naito said. Here's a clip.
Dude, you don't need to study kanji to learn Japanese. Just learn vocabulary. Even if you memorize all the readings of all the kanji there, you still wouldn't be able to read Japanese. Let me show you an example. How to read this. I, se, sho. So, how to read this word? How to read this? So, reading must be kokorochi, or kokoroji, or shinchi, shinji, right? Actually, all of them are wrong.
But luckily for us, there are some techniques we can apply to make learning kanji easier. So without any further ado, let's begin. Also, a little side note, don't view me as a teacher. I'm still a learner of Japanese. Think of this video as a compilation of things I compiled. I'll link the sources to which I got all of this in the description. Now, on to reading. First off, how do we know if a reading is kun or on? A reading is kunyomi when the kanji stands alone or okurigana follows after it. So okurigana is kana after the kanji, like taberu or yomu. Those are all verbs. They have okurigana, meaning they need to have this kana to be a word. If a reading has 4 or more kana, that is usually kun. For example, oyake, that is kunyomi. Tatakai, meaning a fight, that's kunyomi. If the honorific o is used before a word, that could be kunyomi. For example, if the honorific go is used, that could be onyomi. For example, gohan, it's not really a word because of the honorific. This go tells us that this han, that's the onyomi reading of this character. Now the onyomi is used when the kanji is combined with another. For example, chugoku, you have chu and goku. Actually, the reading of kuni is koku, but I'll get into that later on. If the reading has 3 or less kana, that could be onyomi. For example, ko, like the on reading of oyake, or the onyomi for this kanji is shu, that is onyomi, because shu and u. If the reading has 2 kana and the last is either unchiku kitsui, that is onyomi, well, most of the time. For example, the onyomi for forest is shin, or the onyomi for sea is kite. If you see a word with 2 kanji or a word with 4 kanji, the reading of those kanji are usually onyomi. For example, kaisui, those are onyomi readings. Or shinrin, also onyomi. To make kanji reading easier, we have small tsu hooking. If the second kana of the first kanji is chi or tsu, and the first kana of the second kanji is tentenable, the tsu or chi becomes a small tsu. Also, this is the case with the ku column kana. Like in gakko, you replace the ku with a small tsu, and you have gakko. If the second kana of the first kanji is chi or tsu again, and the first kana of the second kanji is from the ha row, it takes a maru to become a pa row kana. Onto the marufier n. If the second kana of the first kanji is n, and the second kanji begins with a kana from the ha row, then normally it takes a maru. You don't say senhai, you say senpai. Onto tenten hooking. When 2 nouns are joined together and the second begins with a tentenable kana, often it gets a tenten. It's not shinikami, it's
この本物のノートに触っていたから、私には死神が見えています。
It's not en hashira, it's en bashira. When you repeat a kanji, for example, for hito, repeat that. You don't say hito hito, but hito bito. But tenten hooking won't happen if there's a tenten anywhere in the second word. Even if the word is more than 1 kanji, also it won't happen if it causes ambiguity with another word. For example, yamakaji. We can't do yamagaji. The sound sisters. Many complex kanji have 1 element that tells us its pronunciation, so the main on reading of the kanji. For example, the on reading of this kanji from furui is ko. If you see these kanji, you'll know that their onyomi is ko as well. There are many other sound sisters. Here's a list. You don't have to know this, but this is just an example. So I told you that the readings came in waves. This is important now. This method is called the grouped reading guess. What does this mean? Well, most compound kanji use the kan-on, but many don't, which is why this exists. And this is useful for guessing the reading in context. It also eliminates confusion between multiple onyomi readings by grouping them and knowing the usage of the 3 layers. From the 5th to 6th century, the Wu region I told you from before, the usage is for Buddhist, archaic, poetic, religious, legal, or philosophical terms. There is kan-on from the 7th to 9th century, tang, which I told you from before, and that became the standard. Modern, academic, everyday vocabulary, as you might have guessed. The last one is to-on from the 13th to 17th century, Song, Ming period via Zen monks, merchants, late imports like Zen tea terms, cultural artifacts, Buddhist furniture. How is this useful? If you have a Buddhist term like this is kakko, the readings of those kanji are all go-on readings, which means this is a Buddhist term, and it is. You see how this is useful, right? If you know that this is a Buddhist term, you know that the readings have to be go-on, and you might be able to guess which kana you're supposed to use and not guess the kana at random. Counters. First off, there will be no sound change if the first kana of the counter isn't untenable or it is already. For example, the counter ju. Yes, ju is a counter. Niju, sanju, yonju, goju, so on. See, there is no sound change. I could say rokuju. It's totally correct. Second off, for 1 and 10, all 10 tenable counters replace the second kana of the number with small tsu. And with the ha column, we use a maru on the 10 tenable kana. This is like the other rule I talked about earlier. Third off, the ka and ha columns tend to do the same thing, rule number 2, on 6 and sometimes 8. An example is roku and hiki. Together it's roppiki. And with hachi, it's happiki. You can guess the other ones. Rokkai, hakkai, roppun, happun. Fourth, sometimes a tenten or maru is added on the counter on san, meaning 3. Often, this is optional.
There's gotta be a better way!
Use the kanji daily, and also use Japanese daily because, well, if you're not using it, I guess you don't need it. And second, use Anki, which is not for everyone. It's just an option. You don't have to do it. It's just a suggestion. Appearance. How can we remember how the kanji looked? You could use Anki. Second, use the Shirakawa font, which shows you how the kanji looked way back in history, like for fish or for these other kanji. Then you can picture it in your mind and then remember it. You could put that in your Anki if you want to. And third, you use the thing daily, like it's what it is. Using it over and over and over and over, eventually you're gonna put that in your brain. That's how it works. Or fourth, make sticky notes. Like when you wake up and look at your clock, put a sticky note on it and write the word for clock, which is tokei, and also the reading. So the word and the reading on the front. Fifth, make a story, like with this kanji, meaning love, right as I. It has the kanji for kokoro in it. So you could make a very short story saying, my kokoro loves it. Yeah, you could do that. Or since the top part of it looks like a roof, you could say, my kokoro loves being under a roof. Or another classic example is with yasumi. You could remember it as a person resting under a tree. Now, not all kanji are like this, but many are. So for the ones that do it like with yasumu, do that with the other ones as well. 6, practice sentences and writing with AI, a tutor, a friend, or anyone who knows Japanese well. I recommend practicing your Japanese instead of learning all the kanji. Instead of learning kanji, spend your time learning words, because words are more valuable than kanji. Because, yeah, like I told you before, if you listen to Kaname Naito. Now let's talk about the stroke orders. Before we do, actually, ask yourself, do I write a lot in English, like physically, on paper? If you don't, then this section is probably gonna be very useless to you. Unless you're probably gonna take the Kanken or JLPT. Okay, first rule. Horizontal lines come first and go west to east. Vertical lines go north to south, and we follow that order for each part from the northwest corner to the southeast corner. An example is the kanji for free. You start at the northwest, write the line, then go west to east, and then southwest to southeast. You know what I'm talking about. Top to bottom, write the lines, and yeah. The kanji for 10 shows this rule perfectly. You go middle, then north to south. That's usually how it's done. Okay, second off, boxes break the first rule. They start from the left, go down, then go from west to east, but they don't stop there. They go down in one stroke and then close it off. Third off, radicals or kanji or whatever inside the box are drawn before you close the box. Well, obviously, because it would be like getting an empty Amazon package. So for example, the kanji for 4, you go from the top to the bottom, go west to east, and then down in one stroke, write the legs, and then close it off. Fourth, if one stroke cuts through the kanji, that stroke is usually written last. Here are the examples. The kanji for car, you write that line that cuts through last, as you can see. Second is naka, you write that also last. And now we have kaku. Does this seem to break the rule? Well, actually, it doesn't, because we write that line last for the part it belongs to. Fifth rule. Usually, if there's more than one curved line, we start with the ones which are written right to left, followed by left to right diagonals. And this doesn't break the first rule, because take a look at the kanji for father. You start from here, okay, northwest as always, then the southwest curved line, the right to left line, and then here. And there's southeast, that's last. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. The same thing applies for touch and for the kanji for tree. Sixth rule. Since many kanji are made up of other kanji, we are gonna write each kanji one at a time. Example, you see go, that is made up of 3 kanji, which is this, read as gen, and this one read as go, and this one read as kuchi. We start with the left one, if there is one, and write it. Then we go to the second one, which is go, and we write it. Then the last one, which is kuchi, and we're done. And another example, the kanji for forest, mori, we write each tree separately. We start with the north one, since there is no northwest. We write straight line first, top to bottom 1 second, and then right to left, and left to right. We do that for the other ones as well. Southwest and southeast, we do those two, and we're done.